today? I think you're mute.
I am, and I can't speak. I've got new braces in my mouth, so I can't speak.
Oh, got it.
So, but I've actually moved ahead with my book, and I've got it. Next step is to go to a designer, and then it's finally gonna get out there.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Inger. Well done on making progress on that. That's such a great thing. I mean, so we'll have a new book published soon. So thank you so much for sharing that, Inger, and congratulations. All right, so let's see. We have Paul, we have Bjorn, we have Aria, Corey is with us, also Tracy. Corey, yeah, anyways you'd like to share?
My win. Yeah, I'm in transit, so I'm glad I was able to make it. I've stopped driving just to be able to jump on the call. But my win is that I've started weekly clean slating with my missus, and we had our first session last week, which was very eye-opening because we started with you, the word you, and she had a lot of charge on the word you. So it gave me a very different perspective of what she perceived the word you to be. And so, yeah, it was a very unique experience and, eye-opening for her as well, to come to terms with the charge and the past on just the word you. So, yeah, it's very powerful, and I look forward to clean slating later today with her. That's my win.
Wow, fantastic. Well done. Well done, Corey. And yeah, I mean, we know obviously doing clean slate is very, very important, but especially clean slating you, because at the end, everything else emanates from that understanding or that word. So well done doing that, Corey. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. Okay, so let's see, any other wins that you would like to share before we begin? We have Bjorn, Paul, Maria, Tracy, any other wins you'd like to share with us? Let's see. Yeah, Aria, anything you'd like to share before we begin? Any wins?
I'm still awake.
Yeah, it's late for you. Yeah, it is a win. Yeah, well done. I think it's like, I don't know, 1 a.m. or even later than that. It's what, 1 a.m. for you? I think you're mute. Midnight. Okay, so completely the opposite here. All right, so that's definitely a win. So thank you, Aria, for being there connecting with us. Well done. And Tracy, we can see you now, Tracy. That's great. So anything you'd like to share? Any wins before we start today? Good. All right. Yeah, I think we can hear you now. You're on mute now, I think.
Me? Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So I guess a win is like just we just scored some last minute vacation, got starting tomorrow, got like 10 days off. I love the work that I do so much. I can't imagine having 10 days off from it, but it feels good. I haven't had a vacation in a year, so that's my win.
Yeah, well done. Nice. Great. Thank you, Tracy, also for being here and for sharing that. And yeah, so we are going to focus on this chapter 13. And I just want to say thank you also for the people that is watching this in Facebook, because we are also broadcasting this live. So thank you for everybody that is watching this live. And if they want to join, I mean, you can watch through Facebook as well. And just one thing, I just want to share with you a nice win that I had. I just want to take the opportunity to share that as well. I promised to myself that I was going to just focus more attention in the taxes and just my accountant and finances in my business. I promised that to myself since last year when I closed the year. And since the beginning of this year, January, then February and March, I've been having pretty much like weekly meetings with my accountant. I have an accountant that works for me, and I have an outsource type of accountant. So just having meetings on weekly basis with both of them, and just going through the books for the last year. So I paid my return taxes last year in Mexico. So I'm just really happy because after doing that and just putting attention and asking a lot of questions, and probably even related to the chapter that we're going to review today, just finding the things that I don't know, right? About that area, because I'm not an accountant, right? So just going through that process and asking lots of questions and really projecting the intention that I'm going to just get a better result, right? This year. So to make a long story short, so yesterday when I finally paid and had the final meeting with my accountants, so I got an 80% decrease of the amount of taxes that I was, going to pay. So when I closed the year and just where things are, the way the books were and all that, so it was like 80% more. And as we review, during this month and just organize everything, so it was like 80% less. So I'm really happy, as you can tell. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. But it's actually, I think, a good example of what Alan is saying in a way in this chapter about knowledge, right? I mean, when you're not getting an optimum result in an area, it's probably because there's something you don't know, something you don't understand, or even something that probably you think you know, but you're not really applying it. So I just got reminded of that. So okay, so let's so that's really what we're going to do, just focus on this chapter. So I would like to hear from you anything that you like. Thank you, Juan Carlos. Yes, that was a really big win. I was so happy. You should have seen me yesterday. I actually had a processing session with Jeff, like 5 minutes before I go in. My accountant just gave me this great news. So I was like, oh, really, really happy throughout that session. So thank you, Juan Carlos. So that's what we're going to do, just review chapter 13. So let's hear from you. What did you like about this chapter, or anything you would like to share? Any questions? And if you want to share, please just wave or unmute yourself. Let's hear from you first about chapter 13. So any questions, any feedback, or anything you like, anything you learned from this chapter? And if so, if you want to share, yes, let's go with you, Bjorn, please.
Yeah, thank you, Raul. Yeah, but what came in my mind when I was reading the chapter, and it also, I think it counts for my life as well now, because I'm starting something new, and I now have the freedom to put a lot of time in it and to immerse in it fully. And it just started roughly 2 weeks ago, but I realized how fast I move forward because I can focus and put a much attention on it, and I'm not getting disturbed by another 120 things. So the progress is great. And then I was thinking when I was reading the book today, and I mean, it was a big commitment for Alan to play in 4 or 5 teams. Well, whatever, but he put his focus on it, and he said that he played on 5 teams for 2 years, so he crammed like 10 years of experience in it. And I've been thinking personally, he might even put more experience in, because it was in he's done it in an intense or in a short time frame that it ends up. Because when I'm studying something and every day, for example, I do it for 1 hour, my mind takes 20 minutes to get back to it and get into it. But when I do it longer, it's kind of multiplying. And then I was thinking, somehow he made something very good because he took himself enough time put aside, and he was focused on doing so. And I thought that's actually a great idea, because it's going pretty fast and pretty smooth as well.
Yeah, no, thank you, Bjorn. And I think it's really a great point, right? Because it's like that power of total immersion, right? And he's just sharing. Alan is sharing a couple of questions in that chapter, right? Like, what do I know, and what don't I know? But then when you find something that you do not know, then it's also the question like, okay, and what are you going to do about it? right? And that's such a great example of the way he answered that in that area for himself. Like, okay, so he just put those years of experience playing that in just 2 years. And I think that every time that we find something that we don't know and we actually want to acquire the knowledge or the skill, the understanding of it, it's all the time is up to us, like the process that we're going to run on that and how long that's going to take. Like just listening to you, Bjorn, I remember when I decided to learn English. So learning English for me, it took a while, probably close to 10 years, because I was interested, but probably I didn't have at the beginning like the commitment to fully do it. But then after I learned English, I lived in Brazil for almost 3 years, and I really, really wanted to have success in that country. So learning Portuguese, it took me 3 months. Yeah, but the process that I run was different, right? I moved myself there. I was living there and just talking Portuguese every single day, not being worried about if they understand me or not, or making mistakes. But it was amazing, I mean, just having that point of comparison, learning English took a lot, for me. But then learning the other one, it was just only 3 months, but I really put myself like under pressure and with that type of commitment. So that really makes a lot of sense, Bjorn. So again, once we know something that we don't know or an ability that we don't have, that we really want to have, the process we run, it's up to us and how long that process is going to take. And I think that also is going to show how committed we are into really doing so. So that's a great point. Thank you, Bjorn. That's fascinating. Thank you. So yes, great point. Anyone else? Anything you like? Anything you learn? Or anything that? Yes, let's go with Corey. Yes.
I'll share. Interesting. I had a prospect meeting today, and it was by basically Mercedes-Benz World. I went there for my birthday a couple of years ago, and then as a birthday treat from my missus, and I decided that I would focus full-time on my business on that trip. I released a lot of Life Force particles there, and I was in high mood level. I was like, okay, I need to dedicate my time. And then going full-time in the business, it didn't work out how I thought it would. And I was like, hold on a minute, I've got all these skills, I've got all these abilities, I do my life skills analysis, it comes out green zone, but something's obviously wrong here because I can't seem to produce the outcomes. And that's when I went on the ACL website and saw the financial skills analysis, and that totally opened up another world for me. And then I obviously had the processing with you, and I realized I'd been confused about processing for many, many years. I'd listened to Alan C. Walter's lectures about processing, but I really didn't know what it was until I had processing with you. So just finding out what it was, I didn't know, didn't understand, because I was stumped. I was like, hold on a minute, I've got all these skills, but I have no idea why it's not coming out in monetary terms. But in finding out and going on in that journey, it wasn't really related to money. It was related to something else that had some family situations and whatnot, and very complex situations to deal with. So, but I understood that it was outside my purview, and I didn't know what it was. But just finding out and investigating allowed me to free up Life Force particles and redirect them and start getting my financial life in order. So, thank you very much, Raul.
Wow, thank you, Corey. That's powerful. And I'm actually seeing a couple of those charts just behind Aria, right? And that is actually the way that the charts are designed. Like the life analysis, it's really about knowingness and understanding, that's life. And then the skills analysis, it's about, well, if you do understand something, that means you can apply it. And that's called ability, skills. So life, it's actually measuring that knowingness, that understanding of things, which it needs to correlate with skills, which is, okay, how much of that are you actually implementing? How much of that are you actually applying? But it's not enough, because then we have the third one, which is the one that Corey just mentioned, which is the financial one, right? And financial is really the results that you are getting. If you really, really know something, and if you truly have the ability to implement that, then it has to show in the scorecard in life, right? Money, finances, prosperity. But if this says it's green and this says it's green, but then in my final results or my level of prosperity, things are not going well, then there's a good chance that actually, there's something in the to before, meaning knowingness or ability that I don't have yet. So that's such a key point, Corey. And I would encourage everybody, when you're doing your life plans, to actually do the 3 graphs and not just life and skills, right? Life, skills, and finances. Another way of understanding those graphs is be, do, have, right? Be, life, do, skills, finances, have. So it really gives you like the whole picture, and I think that it's really, really connected to this chapter. So we have Tracy. Camilo, do you have the financial skills analysis? I'm interested in doing it. Okay, so Camilo just shared that. Thank you so much, Camilo. And let me just, now that we're talking about this, let me just, because I was reviewing the chapter this morning and I found this definition. So let me just share that with you on the chat. Because and this happened to me. I don't know if this has happened to you, but I remember, especially before knowing this technology, I used to think that I knew so much stuff, right? I didn't, but I thought I knew, right? So I think this is a very important definition. And if you don't mind, Paul, would you be able just to read that definition? And it's know about. I just shared that in the chat. If you can just see it there in the chat, and if you can read it, and let's just talk a little bit about that. Yes, thank you, Paul.
Know about. This is probably the most insidious form of unknown, as it gives the proponent a false, ineffective, delusionary belief that they know. The truth is, they have only a vague, unworkable understanding of a subject or area. This is easily observable by the ability to be effective or causative in the area.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Paul, for sharing that. So I really love, Alan has a really great line in this chapter. He says, let me explain how I use I don't know. Knowing means knowing in the fullest sense. When someone knows in the fullest sense, he understands the subject or area so well that he can apply his knowledge successfully in the area. So I don't know about you, but before getting into all this, I think that I had a wrong idea about knowingness and even knowledge. And I was really confused, and thinking that know about was knowingness or was knowledge. But what Alan is explaining in this chapter, if you really know something, right, then you apply. And it is not just application. You apply that successfully, meaning you get the result that you really want in the area. So I think that definition it's key, and we have another one, which is knowingness. So let me just share the other definition, and you can. I think that it was really, really important to share that. Let me just put this here also in the chat. So this one is a little bit longer, but it's the definition of knowingness. And So Tracy, if you don't mind, would you be willing to just read? I just put it in the chat. It's knowingness. So let's just see what that is. And this, again, this one comes from the Knowledge Listen Dictionary. So those are definitions by Alan. Yes, Tracy.
You bet. Thank you. Knowingness. Knowingness is the spiritual ability to know pure knowledge and information without any logical external references or authority. The more knowledge, know-how, certainty, experience, and demonstrated competence in an area a person has, the greater is their ability to have spiritual knowingness. Knowingness is the full 5 pillars of power: love, truth, relationships, integrity, and action. Let me read that sentence again. Knowingness is the full 5 pillars of power, love, truth, relationships, integrity, and action. Knowingness comes from the ability to knowingly apply demonstrated competence and successful actions repeatedly with consistency of optimum results. From the Gold Zone Series 3.
Fantastic. So thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much for sharing that. And also Paul. And when I was reviewing the chapter, I thought, I think that I really need to share those 2 definitions, because that's, that's really many times what happens, right? I think I know something, but in fact, I don't. I mean, I probably have some information. I've heard, a couple of opinions, but I don't really have the integrity or the effectiveness or the ability to really apply that. So I just wanted to share that, because I think that it's just really, really connected to what we read in this chapter. So let's open that to you. So yeah, I mean, anything else you would like to share about this chapter or this definitions? Any takeaways or any questions that you have? And if so, I mean, you can just wave or unmute yourself. Anything else you like or you think it's important connected to this chapter and this subject? Anybody else? Any comments? Yes, Paul, let's go with you. Thank you.
I'm reminded with this last definition you shared, Raul. I just finished reading Alan Walter's book, The Paradigm Matrix.
Yeah.
And he was talking in one part of the book about the idea of how many people have the precept of fake it till you make it. And, not only is that something where that can really explode, it shows a lack of integrity. You're not showing integrity to yourself or to others. That may not show up immediately, but it relates to this idea of knowingness and the 5 pillars of power: love, truth, relationships. If you're just winging it or trying to get the impression you know something you don't, then it's really sort of a anti-knowingness, I guess. It's contrary. And then also, I just want to make the point in terms of the book itself. Once again, I appreciated Alan's, by his willingness to show that he didn't know something. He found that people who otherwise may not have been supportive to him actually, like in professional football, he talked about at first they laughed at him, but then they actually respected him because he didn't pretend he knew anything. And so they were perfectly willing to share their secrets. I'm so sure that was extremely important for him for his success.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. Thank you so much, Paul. I mean, that is so important. And you just reminded me of, it is an ability. And Alan used to say that it is an ability, the ability to be wrong. If you really, really want to know in an area, if you really want to understand and just be effective, then you don't fake it. You're just honest, right? The thing about the things that you really know and understand, and the things that you're actually able to do, but then you're also honest about those things that you don't know, those things that you are not able to do, right? And it is an ability, to be wrong, and not knowing something. And that's why many people, just don't have that ability, right? And they just can say I don't know, or I'm not able to do that, but I'm willing to learn, or show me, or ask for help, right? So it is an ability, the ability to be wrong. And if you have that ability, then you can just learn faster, and just get to that level of skill that you want to, or that level of understanding. But not everybody has that. So it's such an important ability if you want to get out of the red zone. Yes, Paul.
Just one other point. I don't remember if it was in this chapter or not, but certainly it's in the book, where he talks about sort of the worst situation is knowing something that's not true. And knowing something, but not knowing that you don't know. So then you don't bother investigating. You're going off with these concepts that are actually wrong, and you don't bother to investigate it any further because you think you know it. And it's, I feel like I bump into this quite a bit, where people just know things that just aren't true.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely it is a problem, Paul, and thank you for sharing that. And again, I mean, that's why it's so important to, from time to time, actually do the graphs, right? Because I might think that I'm in this level or certain level, but once you do the 3 of them, and you do life, and you do skills, and then you also do financial, then, it's like the whole picture, and it's just great tool to really find it, more exactly the space that you're in. And what that means is the things that you know, but also things that you don't know, or abilities that you don't have. So that's quite important. So Tracy wants to share, and I think Juan Carlos wants to share as well. Let's go with you, Tracy.
Yeah, thank you. Well, what's coming to mind is my good friend David says something to the effect of, no amount of watching YouTube videos will teach you how to play a piano. Like you actually, you actually have to play the piano to find out what you know and you don't know. And one of the things that I think is happening is we have so much knowledge and information at our fingertips that people think they know because they've watched and viewed and read. And our education system kind of sets that up for us from when we're little, of learning something without actually doing it. And so I'm really glad for this applied learning that we've got here. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Tracy. Well done. and David, that quote was brilliant. I love that. Anything else you'd like to share, David?
Well, I just attribute that to author Robert Fritz, who wrote a lot about creating, and he was a composer by trade, so he has an artist's perspective.
Wow.
Has a lot of very, very wonderful insights.
Wow. So thank you, David, for sharing that. I mean, that's brilliant. Well done. Thank you. And Juan, if you can hear us, I believe. Well, I can see the hand raised.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's hear from
I'm here.
you.
Hi,
Welcome,
guys.
by
How
the
are
way.
you? Thank you very much. I just want to comment that one day that everything changed for me was when something was not going as I wanted. A lot of things were going as I wanted, but one little thing was not going as I wanted. So then I just stopped and said, okay, there's something that I don't know. And instead of trying to blame something else or looking to the other side, I turned back and I said, definitely there is something here that I don't know, no, because or I don't understand, because this doesn't make any sense. And that little moment changed my mood completely in half a second. So that proved that I was like going into the right direction. And with the financial thing, is maybe the most stressful subject, because you can be doing great in many areas, but that thing is always there and is horrible. So when Corey said it was not about money, and you discovered that the source of that not flowing well was in a different area, that makes sense big time. So I just wanted to comment that. It's great to hear you all, and thank you, Raul. Abrazo.
Yeah, thank you, Juan. And well said. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being here with us. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for creating the space and time to connect and just share your understandings, your wins, and your viewpoints connected to this great book. I hope this couple of definitions would be helpful to you. I hope that you had the chance just to, to get connected to those definitions. And so we're going to be here next week and we'll focus on chapter 14. Thank you so much for being here with us today, and we'll see you in the next chapter 14. Just, create some space and read it. It's always more useful if you have the chance to read it before the call and then just come with your own questions or understandings or wins connected to that. So have a great day, a green Sunday, a gold Sunday. Thank you for everybody watching this on Facebook as well, and we'll see you next week. See you, everybody.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you,
guys.
Robert.
Thanks a lot, Ralph,
Thanks,
Bye.
Carmelo,
Thank
Paul,
you.
Mika,
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
David.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
And you
Have a great
raise
week.
our energy, Inger. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye. See you. Bye. Thank you, Ria.